It's been so long, trying to hold everything together, not realizing I was never supposed to.
I've been holding on so tight, white knuckles through the night. Told myself if I just pushed a little harder, everything would turn out right. Build my walls up brick by brick, thinking strength meant nothing sticks. But all I did was build a prison out of pride and politics. I've been running from the stillness, 'cause the stillness made me feel all the things I packed away and labeled as things I deal with later. But later never came around, and what I buried underground started growing in the dark into something with a sound. And I heard it in the middle of the night, that voice that cuts right through the fight, that says, why are you carrying what I already carry? Why are you bleeding for a price already paid? You act like I forgot about you, like I stepped away and left you in the dark. But I've been standing right here waiting for you to stop and see ya. Never left your heart, and you carry it all. You carry it all. Every chain, every wall, every prodigal call, every time that I stumbled and swore I was done, every night that felt endless before the sun. You carry it all. You carry it all. Not just the easy things, not just the small. I've been fighting with my hands what you've already won. You carry it all, 'cause you're the only one. Oh, I watch the people that I love try to hold the sky above, their families, their futures, and their failures, until their hands give up. And I've done the same thing too. Thought that grinding was the proof that I was worthy of the good things, like I had something left to prove. But there's a kind of strength that kneels, a kind of faith that learns to feel the difference between carrying the burden and surrendering the wheel. And I don't always get it right, still reach for control in the night. But every time I let it go, something in me comes alive. And I feel it in the moments when I rest, that peace that doesn't make sense with my mess, that says, why are you carrying what I already carried? Why are you bleeding for a price already paid? I didn't bring you out of Egypt just to let you wander back into the chains. Hey, so lay it down and let me hold it. I've been holding you through everything anyway. Hey, you carry it all. You carry it all. Every chain, every wall, every prodigal call, every time that I stumbled and swore I was done, every night that felt endless before the sun. You carry it all. You carry it all. Not just the easy things, not just the small. I've been fighting with my hands what you've already You're the only one. I lay it down. You're the only one.
Before the sun breaks through the curtain, before the birds have called the day, before the coffee's even ready, before I know what words to say, I roll out of the covers slowly, still half asleep and half afraid of all the things that wait to find me the moment that my plans are laid. I don't come polished, I don't come ready. I come with coffee staining heavy eyes. I come with all the weight from yesterday still sitting on my chest like unread lines. But you don't need me dressed or steady. You don't need a version of me, that's fine. You just need me here in the morning, showing up one more time. So here I am, Lord, in the quiet, before the noise gets in my head, before the phone lights up the nightstand, before the world crawls out of bed. Fill me up before I carry all the weight of what's ahead. Good morning, God, it's me again, your child, you kept your broken friend. Before the sun, you are enough. Before the sun, you are enough. I've tried to start my days without you, ran hard on nothing but my own, told myself that I was capable of doing this whole life alone. And every single time I hit the wall, that wall was always me. Too proud to say I needed someone, too blind to let you in and see that the version of me trying hardest is the one most far from free. So I don't come polished, I don't come ready. I come with yesterday still on my skin. I come with questions I've been too scared to ask, and doubts I've been afraid to admit. But you don't need me dressed or steady. You've seen every version of me that's failed. You just need me here in the morning with my hands open and no more walls. So here I am, Lord, in the quiet, before the noise gets in my head, before the phone lights up the nightstand, before the world crawls out of bed. Fill me up before I carry all the weight of what's ahead. Good morning, God, it's me again, your child, you kept your broken friend. Before the sun, you are enough. Oh, before the sun, you are enough. Yeah. New mercies fall like morning dew, slow and quiet and faithful and true. I don't deserve the way you move, but you keep meeting me here. Before I earn it, before I try, before I even open my eyes, you're already there on the other side of every fear I've been carrying. New mercies fall like morning dew. This is the part I keep coming back to, that you don't wait for me to get it right. You just wait for me. You just wait for me. You just wait for me here. So here I am, Lord, in the quiet. It's just me and you and the dark. I don't need answers this morning, I just need to feel your heart. Fill me up before I carry all the weight You are enough.
You are enough.
Good morning, God. You are enough. Oh, yeah, yeah. I've been staring at the ceiling, trying to work out next year's plan. Like if I could just see far enough ahead, I'd finally understand why the road bends where it bends, why the answers take so long, why the chapter I'm in feels like a bridge that just keeps going on and on. I've been asking for the whole map, but you give me one more mile. I've been asking for the mountain view, and you give me one more tile. And I fought it, I'll be honest, I've been frustrated with the pace, but maybe I've been missing that the pace itself is grace. So maybe I don't need to see the end, maybe I just need to see your face. Not the full horizon of the story, just enough to take the next step with faith. You're enough for today, when tomorrow feels like a wall I can't scale.
You're enough for today,
when my prayers feel thin and my faith feels frail. I won't ask you for the whole chapter, I won't ask you for the why behind the wait. Just the next line, just the next grace, just enough to keep me walking in this place. You're enough for today. Oh, you're enough for today. Yeah, I've talked to men twice my age who've carried more than I can name, buried children, buried marriages, and walked through years of shame. And when I asked them what got them through it, none of them said they had it figured out. They said we took it one day at a time and trusted through the doubt. They said some mornings all we had was enough to get out of bed, and some nights all we had was bread, and even that fell thin as thread. But the God who fed the thousands with just a few loaves and fish was the same God feeding their faith, one mercy at a time like this. So I don't need to see the end, I just need to feel your face. Not the full horizon of the story, just enough to take the next step in faith. You're enough
for today,
when tomorrow feels like a wall I can't scale.
you're enough for today,
When my prayers feel thin and my faith feels frail, I won't ask you for the whole chapter, I won't ask you for the why behind the wait. Just the next line, just the next race, just enough to keep me walking in this place. You're enough for today. You're enough for today. Oh, daily bread is what you promised,
not the whole loaf, not the store,
just enough to keep me walking.
just enough and then some more.
And when I'm angry that it's only just enough, help me see that just enough from you is more than plenty, more than I could earn or carry on my own. Just enough from you is already everything. Daily bread is what you
Promise,
and that promise holds.
even when my feelings say it's not enough,
The promise holds.
even when the math doesn't add up,
The promise holds.
even when the wait becomes a season,
Becomes a year, becomes a life.
promise holds.
The promise holds. your presence in this place. You're enough for today. You are enough for today. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. Just today. You are enough. Just today. You are enough. This one's for the ones still standing in it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego walked to the edge of what obedience cost. Didn't get away around the furnace, didn't get a miracle to stop the fire before the loss. They said, our God is able to deliver, but even if He doesn't, we won't bow. And I've read that story 100 times, but I'm only now learning what it means right now. Because I've been standing at my own furnace, a different kind of fire, but a real one just the same. And the faith that worked in the easy seasons is being tested in a whole new way. It's easy to trust when deliverance is coming. It's easy to praise when the answer's on the way. But can I raise my hands before the rescue? Can I worship in the middle of the pain? Not the faith that says God will fix it in a moment. Not the faith that skips the suffering to get to the good part. But the faith that walks into the furnace upright and keeps its hands raised from the start. That faith costs something. That faith is made, not given. That faith is forged in the exact same fire that is being used to stand in. Hands raised in the fire. Not after the rescue while the smoke still clears. Hands raised in the fire. In the middle of the furnace, in the middle of the fear. Not because the heat stopped being real, not because the flames don't burn, but because the God who walks with me in fire is more real than everything I felt and seen. Hands raised in the fire. Hands raised in the fire. Even here, even now, even in this, hands raised in the fire. Job sat in the ash and didn't have an answer, didn't have a reason for the weight he had to bear. His friends came with the theories and the theologies, and every single one of them fell short of what was there. And God didn't come and explain the suffering. God came and said, where were you when I laid the earth? Not to shame him, but to shift the frame of what understanding is actually worth. Because sometimes the answer is the presence, not the explanation wrapped in reasons and a bow. Sometimes the answer is the fourth man in the furnace, walking where the fire was supposed to go. And I've had moments where I wanted the theology, give me something I can hold and understand. But God kept showing up His presence in the middle, not explanation, just His hand. And that's the faith I'm learning now. The faith that doesn't need to understand to trust. The faith that says I cannot see what you are doing, but I know enough about your character to adjust my grip on the outcome and open both my hands, not to surrender to the fire, but to the one whose plan is greater than the fire ever can. Hands raised in the fire, not after the rescue while the smoke still clears. Hands raised in the fire, in the middle of the furnace, in the middle of the fear. Not because the heat stopped being real, not because the flames don't burn, but because the God who walks with me in fire is more real than everything I felt and seen. Hands raised in the fire. Even here, even now, even in this, hands raised in the fire. They came out of that fire, and not one hair was singed, not the smell of smoke on any piece of clothing. And the only thing that burned was what was binding them. The only thing that burned was what was holding. And I've seen that happen in the people I love most, the ones who walk the hardest roads with grace, who came out on the other side of impossible with freedom on their face. Because the fire never gets the last word. The fire is not the destination, it's the door. And what you thought would be the end of everything is what God uses to open something more. So I'm not asking for the fire to go out, I'm asking for the grace to stand inside it. I'm not asking for the easy path around it, I'm asking for the faith to not deny it, to not pretend that it's not hot in here, to not perform a piece I don't feel yet, but to choose with everything that's left in me, to not let go and not forget that He has never lost a man inside a fire, that He has never dropped the ones He's promised to keep, that the God who walked with Daniel in the lion's den is the same God walking with me.
Hands raised in the fire.
Not after the rescue, all the smoke
Still clear.
hands raised in the fire.
In the middle of the furnace, in the middle of the field.
Hey, not because the heat stopped being real, hey, not because the flames don't burn, but because the God who walks with me in fire is worth more than anything I've lost or stood to earn.
Hands raised in the fire.
Hands raised in the fire, hey, hands raised.
Hands raised in the fire.
I will not bow, I will not break, I will not put my hands down in this place. Hands raised in the fire, hands raised.
Raised in the fire.
Even here, even now, even in this, hands raised in the fire. Even here, hands raised. Even now, hands raised. Even in this, hey! Hands raised in the fire. I will not bow. Sometimes I wonder if any of this reaches. Then I remember, He leaned down to listen. Oh, I grew up in a church where worship was performance, where the right notes mattered more than the right heart, where you could sing every word with perfect timing and still be falling completely apart. I watched men lead from behind microphones who went home to something the congregation never saw. And I absorbed the message without meaning to, that worship was the show, not the raw. So when I got older and life got honest, and honest didn't look like Sunday morning clean, I didn't know how to bring the real version into a space built for a polished routine. So I stayed quiet in the corners, moved my mouth but kept the walls up high, offered God the version He'd be comfortable with, and never let Him near the stuff inside. But then I read about the ones in Scripture who came completely wrecked and were received. David dancing till he looked undignified, Hannah weeping so hard the priest thought she was drunk on wine. And something in me cracked open reading that God was never asking for the edited version, He was asking for the one that's actually mine. Heaven hears my worship, not because my voice is good enough. Because I finally got it all cleaned up. Heaven hears the broken hallelujah. Heaven hears the tears that fall mid-song. Heaven hears the man who's barely holding, still lift his hands and choose to hold on. Heaven hears my worship. Heaven hears my worship. Every cracked and unpolished word. worship. I've worshiped in the good times, that's the easy part. When the blessing's visible and fresh, when the answer prayer is still so recent, you can feel the warmth of it on your chest. That worship almost leaves itself. The gratitude just spills without a fight. It's easy to sing hallelujah when hallelujah fits the situation right. But I've also worshiped in the hospital hallway. I've also worshiped after the phone call came. I've also stood in a service barely standing, holding on to music like a lifeline in the rain. And that worship cost me something different. That worship wasn't natural, it was chosen. It was lifting hands that didn't want to lift. It was singing through a throat completely broken. And I believe those are the songs that reach the Father's ears in a different way. Not that He loves one kind more than the other, but the sacrifice of praise means something on the hardest days. When you got every reason to stay silent, and you open up your mouth and sing anyway. That's not performance, that's not religion, that's a man who means every word he says. Heaven hears my worship, not because my voice is good enough. Hears my worship, not because I finally got it all cleaned up. Heaven hears the broken heart. Hallelujah. Heaven hears the tears that fall mid-song. Hears the man who's barely home and still lift his hands and choose to hold on. My worship. Heaven hears my worship, every cracked and unpolished word of it. Heaven hears my worship. The incense of the saints rises. Every prayer, every praise, every honest cry, every song sung in an empty bedroom, every whispered, Lord, I'm trying. Every I don't understand, but I trust you. Every thank you through the tears. Every broken man who chose the altar over bitterness and fear. So I won't let the enemy convince me that my worship is too small to matter. That the God who counts the hairs upon my head doesn't hear my voice through all the clatter. I won't let the performance stand in silence. The one true thing I have to bring, which is a heart that's been broken and still believes, and a mouth that's going to sing. Heaven hears my word, and it reaches past the ceiling, past the clouds. Hears my word, not the polished version, but the honest lie. The broken hallelujah. Heaven hears the tears that fall mid-song. Hears the man who's barely whole, still lift his hands and choose to hold on. Hears my word, every single word, every single word. Hears my word, every prayer that ever left my lips. Heaven hears my word. Heaven hears my word. Heaven hears my word. Heaven hears me. Heaven hears my word. Even me. Heaven hears my worship. All right. Come on. In your presence, oh yeah. In your presence, there are days when I wake up horizontal, not just in body but in everything I am. When the ceiling feels closer than heaven, and getting up feels like a demand. Too steep for what I have available, too high for what the night left me with. And I've learned to be honest about those mornings, instead of dressing them up and calling it a gift. I've done the performance of the morning, coffee, Bible, journal, check the box. emotions are the spiritual, while something in my chest just rocks. Hey! Back and forth between the wanting to believe it and the numbness that won't move. And I sat in that honest empty space, not knowing what to do. But then something starts to shift, not because I conjured the right feeling, not because I said the perfect thing, but just because I stayed in the room with you. Even when the room felt like nothing, even when the prayer felt like talking to the wall, and something, barely something, started lifting. In your presence I rise, not all at once, but slowly like the dawn. In your presence I rise, not because I'm strong, but because you've drawn me upward with a grace I can't explain, a gravity in reverse that takes the weight that had me horizontal and lifts it verse by verse. In your presence I rise. In your presence I rise. I've read about the valley of dry bones, and I've lived inside that valley more than once. When the things that used to move me stopped moving, when the fire fell reduced to dust, and Ezekiel stood there with the question, can these bones live? And the answer wasn't obvious, because bones that dry don't look like candidates for anything that isn't just discussion. But breath came anyway, hey! Not from Ezekiel's ability to believe it, but from a God who speaks to dead and dry things, not because they earned it, but because he sees it. Hey! The future of the thing still in his hands, while the present of the thing looks like an ended. And I felt that breath on mornings that felt finished before the day could even start ascending. And something shifts, not because I manufactured the emotion, not because I talked myself into a feeling, but because he's faithful when I'm not, he's present when I'm empty. He meets the small amount of faith I brought and turns it into morning. In your presence I rise, not all at once, but slowly like the dawn. Hey! In your presence I rise, not because I'm strong, but because you've drawn me upward with a grace I can't explain, a gravity in reverse, hey, 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 that takes the weight that had me horizontal and lifts it verse by verse. In your presence I rise, hey, hey, hey. In your presence I rise. Oh, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. I've claimed that verse on the days it felt like a lie, and I've claimed it on the days it felt like oxygen. And I've learned that waiting doesn't always feel like anything. Sometimes waiting feels like silence. Sometimes waiting feels like the absence of the very thing you're waiting for. But the promise isn't that it feels like something. The promise is that he is something. Even when the feeling hasn't caught up yet, even when the dawn is still 15 minutes out and everything is still just dark and cold, even then he is already working. Even then the rising is already happening. Even then you are enough. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Lord, that's what I need most mornings. Not the running, just the walking without fainting. Just the next step without collapsing. In your presence I rise. Even if rise just means I got up, I showed up, I stayed, hey, hey. In your presence I rise, not all at once, but one breath at a time. In your presence I rise, from the valley to the hillside, to the climb. This isn't my strength, this is your faithfulness, meeting me at the bottom of the day and lifting what I can't lift on my own. day is done, the lights are low. The house is finally quiet now. I'm sitting with the weight of everything that happened, and I don't know how to process all the moving pieces, all the words I can't take back. The moment in the afternoon where I completely lost my track. The patience that I promised you I burned through before 9. The man I said I'd be this morning fell short about 100 times. And I can lie here making deals, promise you I'll do better tomorrow, but you already know tomorrow, and you're still hearing all my sorrow. I don't wanna close my eyes with any distance left between us, so I bring it all, every broken part, every place I let the darkness in, and mean it. Not to earn a thing, not to show you I'm sorry, 'cause you already know what's in me. I just need to say it out loud tonight before I let the day release me. Lay me down in your peace tonight. Guard my mind while I lose the fight against the dark and the overthinking, against the replay and the doubting, against the voices that love nighttime. When the quiet makes them louder, I trust you with what I leave behind. Oh, when I sleep, you never sleep, so I'll rest in the one who keeps. Lay me down, lay me down. I'm yours now and through the night. Some nights are harder than the morning. The quiet makes the ache more clear. When the busyness is finally ended and what you've been avoiding appears. The grief that didn't get to speak today, the loneliness behind the smile, the tired underneath the capable that you've been carrying for a while. And I know you see it, all of it. You've never been surprised by me. Not the highlights, not the failures, not the things I'm too ashamed to speak. So tonight I don't perform for you. I don't come with a polished prayer. I come with everything I actually am, and trust that you're already there. And I won't close my eyes with any distance left between us, so I bring it all, every grateful part, every moment where I felt you near and mean it. The breath my lungs took this morning, the way my kids laughed after dinner, the small mercy of a friend who called, the way you keep showing up in the in-between moments. Lay me down in your peace tonight. Guard my mind while I lose the fight against the dark and the overthinking, against the replay and the doubting, against the voices that love nighttime. When the quiet makes them louder, I trust you with what I leave behind. When I sleep, you never sleep, so I'll rest in the one who keeps. Lay me down, lay me down. I'm yours now and through the night. He who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. And if you're awake through every hour, then I can finally let the night be deep. You don't need me conscious to protect me. You don't need me striving while I rest. The same hands that hold the universe together are the hands I'm laying down my head against. So take the worry, take the question, take the version of me that couldn't get it right today. Take the things I meant to do but didn't, take the good I did but then got proud about halfway. Take it all, 'cause in the morning you'll return it made new, made lay me down, lay me down, lay me down, woo, lay me down, lay me down. I'm yours, lay me down. When I die, hey, I'm yours, I'm yours, I'm yours. Son of the living God. Oh, who do they say the Son of Man is? Voices coming from every side. Some say a teacher, some say a prophet, some say a good man who just died. They'll put you in the categories, try to make you something small enough to hold, something safe enough to reference without having to let go of control. But I've read every explanation, I've heard every human take, and nothing else comes close to feeling the shape that only you can make. Not philosophy, not religion, not the versions dressed in stained glass light. Something happened on that hillside, something happened in the tomb that night, and I can't explain away the empty grave. I can't unsee what you've done in me. Every time I try to talk myself out of this, I ended right back on my knees. You're the Son of the living God. You're the bread of life. You're the lightning rod between my sin and the wrath I owed. You stepped in and took the full load. You're the word that was in the beginning. You're the end of every wall I've been building. You're the answer I stopped looking for when I finally stopped looking and fell through the floor. Son of the living God. Oh, Son of the living God. I've had moments I forgot who you were, when the storm got loud and my faith got blurred, when the diagnosis came without a warning, when the marriage started fraying at the nerve, when the thing I prayed the hardest for came back with silence and a closed door. I sat there in the rubble of the life I thought I'd built and asked myself what I even believed this all for. But even in the silence, something held. Even in the dark, something dwelled. That wasn't just my own desire to believe, it was something older, something real, something that had bled and felt the nails, something that had wept in Lazarus' grave, something that had known the full weight of my failure and still chose to walk into that cave. And I can't explain away the way you stayed when everything in me was trying to leave. Every time I try to talk myself out of this, I ended up right back on my knees. You're the Son of the living God. You're the bread of life. You're the lightning rod between my sin and the wrath I owed. You stepped in and took the full load. You're the word that was in the beginning. You're the end of every wall I've been building. You're the answer I stopped looking for when I finally stopped looking and fell through the floor. Son of the living God. Yeah. Peter said it on the water's edge, standing in the boat with wind and waves. You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Lord, and you said flesh and blood didn't give him that. Thomas said it from a place of doubt. Fingers in the wounds he almost didn't reach. My Lord and my God in the upper room, faith born not despite but through the grief. And I say it from the place I almost left, from the hospital, from the floor, from the in-between, from the man who almost convinced like it was something I passed through and left behind. Like I came out the other side with answers, and everything got tidy and refined. But the truth is some seasons don't have endings, they just slowly become something else. And you look back one day and realize you've been walking out of it without even knowing yourself. I spent 2 years convinced you'd gone quiet, 2 years of prayers that hit a wall and fell, 2 years of reading words that felt like history instead of anything that had something to tell me about where I was specifically, me and my specific mess and fear. I would have told you during those 2 years that I wasn't sure you were still here. But I know now what I couldn't see then, that the silence wasn't absence, that the wall wasn't rejection, that the wilderness isn't where you leave people, it's where you make them, it's where you do the work that the comfortable places never let you do. And if I'd known that at the time, I still would have hated every minute, but I would have hated it with a little more trust in you. You never left me, even when it felt like you were somewhere. You never left me, yeah. You never left me, even when I couldn't feel you, and I doubted it myself. You were in the wilderness beside me, you were in the silence doing something I couldn't see. You were never asking, you were working in the in-between and underneath of everything. You never left me, you never left me. Through every season that felt like abandonment, you never left me. I think about Elijah under the juniper tree, done with it all, asking God to let him die. And God didn't come with a theology lecture, didn't come with reasons or a justified reply. God came with bread and water, God came and said the journey is too great for you. Eat and rest and eat again, and then I'll tell you what to do. That's the God I needed in the wilderness, not the answers, just the bread, not the explanation, just the presence, just enough to lift my head. And looking back, I see the bread I didn't notice, the people placed exactly when I was about to break. The small mercies in the in-between of nothing that I was too blinded by the silence to appreciate. So I know now what I couldn't see then, that the wilderness has its own provision, that the manna doesn't look like what you used to, it looks like today's supply and nothing more. But it's real and it is faithful, and the God who sent it never moved his eyes. He was watching through the whole thing, he was present in the ways I couldn't recognize. You never left me, even when it felt like you were somewhere else. You never left me, you never left me, even when I couldn't feel you and I doubted it myself. Something I couldn't see. You were never absent and you were working in the in-between and underneath of everything. You never left me, you never left me. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn or settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me, your right hand will hold me fast. I used to read that like a Sunday morning promise, I know it now like a man who tested it. I went as far as I could go from believing and found you standing right there in the middle of it. Not angry, not with arms crossed waiting, not with a list of all the ways I failed, just present, just faithful, just unchanged. Through every season that I ran and every season that I stayed. So when the next wilderness comes, and it will come, I I want to remember this,
that the silence is not absolute,
that the silence
is not real,
that the distance is not real, that underneath the numbness,
underneath the dry ground,
there is a God who is not moved, who will not move, who cannot leave what he has promised to keep. You never let me, even in the valley of the shadow I could not see.
you never left me,
Even at the bottom of the bottom, you were underneath. You were in the wilderness beside me. You were in the silence doing something I could not see. Whenever absent, you were working in the in-between and underneath of everything. You never left me. You never left me. You have never, not even once, left me. Hey, hey, you never left me. Hey, you never left, not even once,
not even once,
not even then.
you never left me.
I've run far enough to know that grace has longer legs than I do. I know what it is to disappear, to pack your faith like a bag you stop unpacking, to sit in a church and mouth the words while everything inside you's quietly cracking. I've been the man in the back row who hadn't prayed in longer than he said, who wore the face that said I'm doing fine while secretly just trying to get away. I tried to outrun the conviction, I tried to drown it in the ordinary, in the work and the noise and the next thing and anything that kept me from being too still to carry the weight of knowing I had walked away, not in one clean break but slow. 100 small decisions pulling me out like a tide you don't notice till you're too far to roll. And I don't know when I crossed the line between drifting and deciding not to come back. I just know one morning I woke up and couldn't remember the last time I felt that thing I used to feel on Sunday mornings, that thing I used to feel when I'd open up your word. And I thought maybe I had used it up, maybe I was too far gone to be heard. But your grace still finds me in the places I was sure you wouldn't go. Your grace still finds me with my hands down and my heart closed off and low. I didn't come back clean, I came back broken. I didn't come back strong, I came back thin. But your grace had already left the porch light on. Your grace still finds me. Your grace still finds me. Even here, even now, even in the middle of all of this, your grace still finds me. The prodigal didn't rehearse a big speech. He rehearsed just enough to get to the door. He wasn't coming back for the celebration. He was just too tired and too hungry to ignore the memory of a table and a father, the memory of what belonging felt like once. And I understand that walk more than I want to, 'cause I've made that same walk more than once. I've come back with nothing but the nerve to come back. I've come back with apologies too thin for what I did. I've come back expecting disappointment and found a God who ran before I even got there. A God who didn't wait at the door with a list. A God who didn't say, let's talk about the damage. A God who covered me before I could confess and called me son before I finished the sentence. So I don't know how you keep doing this, how you keep loving past the point that makes sense, how every time I show back up half broken, you meet me like I never even left. Not like you forgot what I 'cause your grace had already left the porch light on. Your grace still finds me. Your grace still finds me. It's not that grace is cheap. Lord, I know what it costs. It's not that sin doesn't matter. It's that you counted the cost and paid it before I even knew I'd need it. And that undoubts me every time, because cheap grace would let me stay comfortable. Cheap grace would never call me higher. But the grace that finds me in the far country is the same grace that sets my life on fire. Hey! It's the grace that says I love you too much to let you stay the way you are. It's the grace that runs toward me, running back, and then transforms me where I are. So I don't take it lightly when I say your grace still finds me. I say it like a man who knows the distance he put between himself and home. I say it like a man